Hello, I'm Miranda Kahn.
And I'm John Bachman. Coming up today on Newsmax Now.
Rescue crews finally reached the wreckage of that Marine helicopter that crashed during a humanitarian mission in Nepal. The latest on the cause of that crash. Plus,
Amtrak CEO taking full responsibility for that Philly train accident that killed 8 people, including this Navy midshipman. Well, it's already been announced that an employee from Amtrak has filed a lawsuit. We'll talk to attorney John Lynch. But aside from the victims, who really pays in these kinds of cases?
And you thought the big fight was a couple of weeks ago? Well, you were wrong. Big time. The better boxing match featuring these two good sports. Well, you just need to know more about it. Holyfield versus Romney?
That's right.
A preview just ahead.
Let's get ready to rumble, Miranda. Newsmax Now starts right now.
And congratulations, you made it. It's Friday, and welcome to this latest edition of Newsmax Now.
Don't start your weekend just yet, though. Please do stick around with us. A lot to get to today. Just hearing that Rick Perry is going to announce on June 4th whether or not he's going to run for president.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and
bigger.
It makes it exciting, though, at least.
It does.
Right?
A lot to talk about. And we'll also talk more about the Amtrak crash, what the CEO of Amtrak is saying, and the latest as one of the victims is being laid to rest today. But we also want to turn our attention now to Nepal, and that is where that wreckage has been found now. The American helicopter that crashed there, 6 Marines were on board. 2 soldiers from Nepal are also believed dead after that chopper went down earlier this week.
Because of the nature of the wreckage, it is unlikely that there are any survivors at this time.
Well, 3 bodies were reportedly found at the crash site on the steep slopes of a mountain just east of Kathmandu. The chopper went down Tuesday evening while delivering aid to earthquake victims. And today the House moves ahead with a $600 billion defense bill, even though the president has threatened to veto it. Democrats oppose the plan, which maps out next year's military and national security strategies. They say the measure paves the way for cutting more domestic programs, though. You might remember a 2011 bipartisan budget deal placed caps on defense and domestic spending. You might remember it being called sequestration. Well, this bill skirts those limits by putting $89 billion of the total into emergency war funding that is exempt from those caps.
The Patriot Act faces an uncertain future in the Senate. With just a week before lawmakers break for Memorial Day, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell pushes to extend the expiring Patriot Act provisions by 2 months. But senators say the votes just aren't there for a short-term extension. Republican Senator Rand Paul and Democrat Ron Wyden are both threatening to filibuster.
Well, friends and family have been saying goodbye today on Long Island at the funeral of one of the victims of the Philadelphia Amtrak crash. 20-year-old Justin Zemser was a midshipman at the U.S. Naval Academy. 8 people were killed in that crash when the NTSB says the train sped into a 50-mile-per-hour curve at more than 100 miles per hour.
Just before entering the curve is when the engineer applied the engineer-induced braking to put it into emergency braking.
Well, video shows the train tilting and going off the tracks. Now that engineer, 32-year-old Brandon Bastian, he is expected to be interviewed by the NTSB in the next couple of days.
After meeting with officials from several Gulf states at Camp David, President Obama now offers this promise.
I am reaffirming our ironclad commitment to the security of our Gulf partners.
Made a point of mentioning the potential use of military force and offered assurance that a deal on Iran's nuclear program would not leave them more vulnerable. President Obama also has a bill on his desk. It gives Congress the ability to review any nuclear deal with Iran. It passed the House yesterday by an overwhelmingly bipartisan vote, 400 to 25.
Well, Texas lawmakers trying to stop same-sex marriage in their state have hit a bit of a setback. A bill written by State Representative Cecil Bell that would have barred state employees from issuing marriage licenses failed to pass before a midnight deadline. It could have effectively barred same-sex marriages in Texas, even if the Supreme Court allows them in the country, which that decision is expected sometime next month.
It's not exactly the fight of the century, but it should pack plenty of punch.
Please welcome Mitt the Glove Romney.
There you have it. The former Massachusetts governor and presidential nominee is getting ready to rumble in Square Circle today against 5-time champ Evander Holyfield. It may not look like it, but it's for fun and charity. They're raising money for Charity Vision. It's a Salt Lake City group that works to eradicate blindness in developing countries.
Nice stare down there. And we're also saying goodbye today. One of the all-time music greats.
So give me one.
B.B. King, a legend in every sense of the word, passed away in his Las Vegas home late last night. The list of accolades, far too long to list them all right here. 15-time Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, awarded the Medal of Freedom by President George Bush, and the undisputed King of the Blues. B.B. King had been in declining health for the last year or so. He was 89 years old.
And today, all of us are feeling the blues. What a legend great.
Yeah, Lucille, his guitar, his famous guitar, that sound. And that is what really separates a true legendary guitarist from the rest of the pack, is they have their own unique sound. And he certainly did that with Lucille, his guitar. Also, today we heard the president speaking at a peace officers event, talking about the situation. Of course, Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore. This is been a big topic of conversation here. This was the 34th annual National Peace Officers Memorial Service. Let's take a listen to the president's comments.
And we give thanks to all our fellow Americans, military and civilian, who reflect the very best of American leadership around the world. The world's better for them. We are here to honor heroes who lost their lives in the line of duty. Men and women who put themselves in the way of danger so that the rest of us could live in safety. There were beat cops, deputies, detectives, correctional and Forest Service officers, federal agents, and tribal police. But to many here today, they went by different titles. Caring husband, loving wife, my son, my daughter, mom, dad. And so to all the families who are here today, whose loved ones did not come home at the end of a shift, please know how deeply sorry we are for the loss that you've endured. Know how deeply grateful we are for your loved one's sacrifice. We hold them up as heroes because that's what they are. It takes a special kind of courage to be a peace officer, to be the one people turn to in their most desperate moments, to be willing to run into a dangerous situation when everybody else is running the other way. Scripture tells us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, but only a special few take that commandment so deeply to heart that they are willing to risk their lives so that others, often total strangers, can know peace and security. And that's what peace officers do. And today we honor 131 who made that ultimate sacrifice. We cannot erase every darkness or danger from the duty that you've chosen. We can offer you the support you need to be safe. We can make the communities you care about and protect safer as well. We can make sure that you have the resources you need to do your job. We can do everything we have to do to combat the poverty that plagues too many communities in which you have to serve. We can work harder as a nation to heal the rifts that still exist in some places between law enforcement and the people you risk your lives to protect. We owe it to all of you who wear the badge with honor.
There you have the president speaking today at the National Peace Officers Memorial Service, the 34th annual one. Obviously understand the sentiments of his words there, what he was trying to say, but still there's this ongoing tension that has been discussed between President Obama and law enforcement officials in some circles in this country.
I don't think, though, it's specifically, I don't think you can specifically name Obama, though, when it comes to this.
Well, some of the specific things that have caused a little bit of tension is the fact that he mentions these cases and then talks about police and the community. But more discussion on this coming up. Also going to be talking about the legalities of the Amtrak crash right after this.